So good morning, my name is Jasmine and in today's webinar I'll be giving you a brief introduction to our new AI engine, AIDA. Before we start the course, a few housekeeping points. We've disabled all microphones and cameras automatically to keep things running smoothly. This webinar is being recorded and you'll be sent a link to download the recording tomorrow. We have the Q&A function enabled. If you do have any questions whilst I go through the webinar, please use this and I've set aside a few minutes at the end to go through any questions. If you'd prefer to contact us privately, our contact details are also included at the end of the webinar. So if you don't know much about our history, here's a brief overview. We are a Taiwanese manufacturer and not a Chinese OEM as many think. We were established in 1980 and this makes us 40 years old this year. We did have a lot of big celebrations planned because we're one of few manufacturers of this age, but unfortunately that's been delayed. Our UK branch office opened in 1999 and it was established as the hub for our European operations. We've always made video surveillance products and in 2008 we transitioned from analog to IP. You may know us from the custom install market, which we entered in 2013 when we delivered our first IP-based automation driver for Control 4. We've recently developed our own deep learning AI platform, AIDA. This platform uses multiple modules or engines, which we'll be covering in this webinar, and these include ANPR, karmic, traffic, and mask detection. Other engines, including human detection, are currently in production, and these modules may be released under other names. Because this engine has been designed by us, we can customize its capabilities depending on our needs, as we will show later in this webinar. We use CODA for NVIDIA and OpenVINO with Intel, and we've actually been a certified member of Intel's Internet of Things Solutions Alliance since 2019, when our ANPR engine has also been certified as a market-ready solution by Intel. So as mentioned before, we currently have 4 engines, and today we'll start by looking at ANPR, which is automatic number plate recognition. So here you can see we have 4 channels running ANPR on the AIDA GUI. You can see that it's recognizing and pulling up the license plates for each car. This video here in the bottom right was actually recorded in Spain, and we can recognize plates from around the world, currently including the UK, America, Australia, and Saudi Arabia, to name just a few. An advantage of using an AI engine like this is that we're achieving multiple recognitions at once, even in high-speed environments. You might have also noticed that it's recognizing the color of the license plate, and license plates colors can vary by country. So next we'll have a look at AIDA integrated into our Navigator VMS software. Here we can create unlimited lists of number plates, similar to our LPR camera. So here we've got an exclusion list, a black list, a white list, and allowed. On these lists, we can add as many number plates as we want. So now we'll set up ANPR on a camera that is already linked to Navigator. We simply draw the area where we want to detect number plates, and you can see that we can also set the length of the number plate characters. So here we've got a minimum of 4 and a maximum of 9. Once we've done this, we can link it to any of the normal Navigator alarms to create a reaction. I do want to apologise for the video quality. It's been affected by the recording software we used for this. You can now see that the license plates are showing in the bottom right-hand corner, unlike on the AIDA GUI, and these have also now been embedded into the video. The advantage of this is that we now have a searchable record. So once I enter playback, I can search all ANPR events and narrow these down by our custom lists, or by a specific number plate, or just view all captured number plates. And you'll see that it's populated on the right-hand side a full list for the time range. If I highlight a plate, playback will start and a snapshot of the license plate is also shown in the bottom right-hand corner. If we use Navigator's database manager, we can see all of the information that has been collected. So if we select ANPR events from the top of this list, it will bring up all number plates captured. We could export this as a CSV file, or we could use this as a shortcut and begin playback. So that first engine was ANPR, and the next one we're going to have a look at is karmic, which is still in production. So if you look in this bottom left-hand video, you'll see that it's going to be both the number plate, the colour of the plate, and it also brought up the Ford logo next to it. So this engine is working to detect the make of the vehicles. As the cars come in on this image, you can see that the blue car is showing as a Renault, and it's followed by a Mitsubishi and Hyundai. So this engine is still in development at the moment. We're working on adding car models in the future, but this just gives you an idea of what the engines are capable of learning. So the next engine we'll have a look at is traffic, and this is also our biggest engine as it covers everything to do with traffic and different behaviours. So again, we've got 4 channels running here on the AIDA GUI. You'll notice that unlike in the previous videos, most of the objects are now being recognised. It's picking up cars, trucks, buses and traffic lights, but also people, handbags and animals. So though the engine is named traffic, it's not just limited to vehicles, and I'll give some more examples of how this can be used in this section. So this is a more detailed look at a London road situation. In here you can see it's recognising multiple objects. So we've got people in the corners, we've got cars and motorbikes, traffic lights, so it's identifying a lot of different things in this image. It also works really well in different lighting conditions. So even at night, it's picking up on cars, buses, and people with great accuracy. This final video was filmed in really bad weather, heavy rain on a freeway, but it's still noticing and picking up on all the cars as they come through. So this is going to be our first look at the GUI for the traffic management engine. One of the really nice things about this is that there's a long list of possible behaviours that we can detect, and each of these behaviours can create a different event. So here I just want to highlight the metadata column. So objects that I list in here will trigger alarms, although it will also detect other objects. You can draw 4 zones like this per video image and create a different behaviour for each zone. So some of the options we have available are the prohibited zone. So if something enters the zone, it's going to create a notification. A parking spot detection, and parking violation detection. So this works with the dwell time. So if something is in the area for more than 10 seconds, we could send a notification. We also have options for traffic flow, turn left, turn right, wrong way, and U-turn violations. We mentioned earlier that it highlighted the traffic lights in the London scene. So here we've got a variety of alarms that work only when a red light is showing on a traffic light. So it's only going to trigger then. And finally at the bottom, we've got queuing detection. So in the next couple of videos, I'll show you some of these behaviours. So this first behaviour is the prohibited zone. And once we've activated this, when anything on our metadata list, which we've included cars, trucks, van and peoples, comes into the area, it will create an alarm, as you're seeing happen here. If I now delete people from the metadata list, because I want them to be able to walk through the zone, but I still don't want any vehicles, you'll see that the car is activating the alarm and creating a notification as it came out, and also as it now turns around and comes back in, you can see the little black icon. However, as I've deleted people, if the driver now comes out of the car and walks through the zone, though they're being detected and flagged by the AI engine, they aren't causing an alarm. In this next video, I'm going to change my metadata to just people, and I'm also going to change it from a prohibited zone detection to a parking violation detection. This will give me the option to set a dwell time. So I'm going to set that for 10 seconds for the purpose of the video. So if we now watch the children that are entering the area, they're being detected as people, but they're not flagging any alarms. There's none of those little black icons appearing. Once they've lingered in the area for 10 seconds, the alarm will be created. And you can see this happening now. You could use this for loitering control, or alternatively, this could be a car staying too long in a paid parking spot, or perhaps a school drop-off zone, where you're allowed to stay for a moment, but then you have to move on. If you're there for longer than the time allowed, it's going to create an alarm. I've shown you a couple of behaviour and alarm examples, but I haven't yet talked about some of the outputs that we can create. At the moment, AIDA has trigger outputs that we can use to communicate with third-party devices when an alarm occurs. And this is done by way of HTTP post. So on the left screen, we can see that we can create different HTTP posts for each zone and each behaviour. And here you can see that we've got options to customise each output notification. So this next video shows queue detection. We've used a motorway and the metadata is looking for cars, buses and trucks. We've set the counter here to 10 vehicles within that zone. So on a busy motorway like this, you shouldn't be getting more than 10 cars in a zone this size. However, if the traffic starts to slow because there's a queue ahead, you can see that it's already coming through with an alarm to let us know that there's going to be a problem on the road ahead, causing traffic to back up. So as I've said, some of these behaviours don't just have to apply to traditional traffic scenes, and they can be used in a number of ways. For example, to aid in social distancing. Here we've set up a 2-metre bubble around this person's desk in an office. If I now change my metadata to only alarm on people and set the counter to 2 people within the zone, on queuing detection, as soon as a second person enters this zone, an alarm will be created, as you can see happening here. We could use this in workplaces or factory environments where you may have designated workspaces that only one person can be in at a time. And now, even though you don't see the zones on this live display, you can still see the alarm is being triggered and is visible. So within these behaviours, we can also set up event counters. When a behaviour occurs, a counter can increase or decrease in different increments. Here's a quick example. So this is a camera set up in a doorway, and we're going to create 2 zones, one for people coming in and one for people leaving. So we're going to use 2 traffic flow zones here. I'm going to set the output for the first zone with people coming in to increase the counter by 1 each time. And you can see now that this counter here is going to increase with every person that enters the building. If I now set the second zone, the output is for people leaving, and we're going to use that to -1. We've also set this to update every 5 seconds. So now as people move in and out, the counter will be changing. And if I make this video full screen, you can now see that this number up here is changing accordingly as people enter and leave the building on that 5-second delay. What if you have multiple entrances though? For example, in a large shop? Well, you can have one entrance with its own counter monitoring traffic in and out, and then add a second entrance with its own counter, a third entrance with its own counter, and a fourth entrance with a counter. All of these counters can then be linked to one universal counter that's going to display the total number of people inside the shop. Again, this is a great solution for social distancing. Some buildings may have to limit their capacity for people inside at once. You could also use this to show which entrance has the most traffic. So I did warn you that traffic was going to be the biggest engine, and it's got a lot that we can use for different scenarios. It's not just limited to vehicles. In this last section of this webinar, we're going to look at our most recently developed engine, mask detection, starting with a quick video overview.
Today, we are each aware of the current spread of the virus known as the coronavirus, or COVID-19, which continues to spread and grow in our global community. Right now, the question on everyone's mind is how to safely resume everyday activities. Face masks are an important part of the solution. Li Lin is doing our part by offering technology tools to help combat COVID-19. Li Lin's AI-based mask detection technology is able to accurately detect whether each person is wearing a face mask and whether the face mask is being worn appropriately. This technology is able to accurately read whether a mask is being worn even when other apparel such as hats and helmets are present. please wear a face mask. Even where large volumes of foot traffic exist, Li Lin's face mask detection is able to accurately read whether each individual is wearing a mask appropriately. This means that Li Lin can offer critical tools to the venues where the need is most urgent, such as airports, customs and border crossings, train and bus stations, shopping malls and retail outlets, government buildings, streets, hospitals and healthcare centers, or other public places where a need exists. Our mask detection technology works as a standalone system or as an integrated part of a larger security application. Li Lin is ready to do our part to support the global community during this difficult situation.
So, as shown in the video, we can set different metadata options in the GUI as before. So here we want it to alarm when it sees a face, so not wearing a mask, or if it's seeing a half mask. So this is a mask being worn incorrectly, so maybe not covering the nose. And this will trigger the alarm. So we just simply draw the detection zone as we did before. And here we've got a very wide angle camera set up. You can see that as each person enters the detection zone, we're identifying if they're wearing a mask with a green area around the face, not wearing a mask with a red area around the face, or wearing a mask incorrectly with an orange area around the face. As mentioned in the video, it's a very positive 97% read rate, and as well as using this in public places and workspaces, this could be used in areas like your front door, so if you don't want to open it for someone who isn't wearing a mask. Some countries, including Taiwan, are making it mandatory to wear a mask in public areas, such as subways where it's very crowded. This engine was developed in line with this need, and it's going to be deployed in Taiwan in the very near future. So that was a brief overview of the AIDA platform and its current engines. So why should you choose Li Lin? We operate worldwide with branch offices in 12 countries and a global distribution network that provides our customers with local support. We are agile and able to adapt to changing circumstances, as evidenced by the creation of the mask detection solution, which will have been created and deployed within a 4-month period. We form strong, innovative partnerships with companies such as Intel in order to create high-quality products. Another key partnership for us is with Deloitte Taiwan, who have helped us to create a strong cybersecurity framework that tests both new and existing products to prevent against cyber attacks. We have an excellent in-house research and development team who are continually improving product design. We offer a fully scalable range of solutions, from homes to commercial sites to government projects such as the Taiwanese subway. We have a huge platform of online resources available to you, including our knowledge base with a wide range of reference and how-to documents and unparalleled technical support. Thank you for taking the time to join us today, and I hope that you have found this webinar valuable. As mentioned at the beginning, the webinar has been recorded and an access link will be sent to you via email tomorrow. I've got a few minutes now to answer any general questions on AIDA, but unfortunately not enough time to delve into too many of the specifics. Anyone who asks a question that I don't manage to answer live will be contacted following this webinar. And if you'd like to find out more about any of these engines or how you could implement AIDA, please contact us using one of the methods here, and we will arrange a time to discuss with you privately. Again, thanks for taking the time to attend, and I hope that you're all staying safe and well in these confusing times. So let's see if we've got any questions. Hi Andy, so each video image can have 4 detection zones. Andre, we've actually run some of these detections on recorded videos, especially as we're not able to get out and record live at the moment with the lockdown. So if you do have a video, you can run that through the AIDA and have things detected on that. Hi, we have, if you tune in on Friday, we do have another webinar that looks at the temperature measurement solution that's upcoming. For that, for the person who's asking about a thermal camera. Alan Matthews, can this be combined with facial recognition to report who isn't wearing a mask? I'll get Ian to give you a call on that one, Alan. It's working to detect faces. I'm not quite sure about the database yet. Graham Owens, it's not an NVR solution. The AIDA is a separate software platform. But you can integrate, obviously, NVRs into the solution. I think that's all of the questions. Yes, so sorry, AIDA can send alerts to an NVR. These can be audio alerts, pop-up video pop-ups, snapshots, lots of different options there. Andy Chance, is there a minimum spec of camera? It will work with any camera. It does depend somewhat on the scene, so you need to make sure that you've got a good enough resolution. For, so if you've got a really wide angled scene, you might want like a higher resolution, but there's not a minimum spec of camera as such. Right, so I've got no more questions coming in. Thanks for joining us this morning, and if you do have any questions afterwards, please contact us on one of these methods and we'll be happy to help. Thank you.